Welcome back to another episode of Cricut Design Space Basics. I'm Laura from Laura's Crafty Life. Today we're talking about using the Size tool. You can use it to resize any object or text you place on the canvas. Almost every project will require you to resize an image or text. So let's start by opening a new project in Cricut Design Space. The Size tool is up here in the Edit bar at the top of the desktop screen. So let's start by adding a circle shape to the canvas. So you can see we've added a circle that is 2 inches by 2 inches. The first way to resize an image is to use the Size tool in the Edit bar. You'll see a W, an H with numbers next to them, and then plus a small lock at the top. The W stands for width, the H stands for height, and the lock locks the proportions of the shape. Here the size is measured in inches. If you want to change from inches to the metric system, you'll go to the drop-down menu next to your name, and then to Settings, and then we will go to Canvas, and you will click Metric, and it will change the numbers to the metric system. So you can see now it's in centimeters. I'm in the United States, so I want mine to be in inches. You can adjust an object's width or height by typing in an exact value. So here I can change this from 2 to 3. You can just type the numbers into either one of these boxes. Or you can use the arrows to adjust the size by 0.1 inches at a time. So you'll see if I do the up arrow, it's going up by 0.1. If I click the down arrow, it goes down by 0.1. So if the lock is closed, the proportions of the object or text will stay the same. So a circle, it's going to be equal. You're going to have an equal width to an equal height. Let's say you have a rectangle. So for this one, you've got 2.5 by 1.67 inches. If you change this number to, let's say, 6, it will proportionately change the height to keep the shape the same relative shape. However, if the lock is open, you can change the image aspect ratio. This way you can freely adjust the width or height independently. So let's say we want this circle to be an oval. So we have unlocked this Size tool, and then we'll keep the width at 3 and we'll type in 4. So now we have an oval shape. We can also resize an image or text by using the bounding box corners. So when you click on your image, this gray box with the squares on it is called a bounding box. So you can resize an image by dragging at the corner of a bounding box around the object. This will keep the object in the same proportions or the same image aspect ratio as what it originally is. If you click on the sides or the top and bottom of the bounding box, then you can change the image aspect ratio, even if this is locked. So just be aware of that when you're resizing things and you are possibly using the bounding box to resize. Even with the lock, you can change the image aspect ratio. Now let's say we want to adjust the image sizes of more than one image. So let's add another shape to the canvas. We're going to add a square. We're going to make the square bigger than the circle. And let's move the square behind the circle so you can see what we're doing here. So if you select more than one object or the images are part of a group, all objects will change sizes proportionately when you use the corners of the bounding box. So if we select both of these shapes, you can see the circle and the square are both getting bigger or smaller. You can also, again, use the top and bottom of the bounding box to adjust the shape. And this will also work similarly when you have your objects in a group. They're both automatically selected when you select that group, so it will work the same way as if you had selected both images. If you have your objects grouped, but you only want to resize one of the images, you can click on the single layer that you want to resize in the Layers panel. So for example, let's say I just want to change the size of the circle inside of this square. You click on the circle in the Layers panel, or you can double click on the object. So now I've double clicked on the square and I can change the square shape independently of the circle. This allows you to resize the image and also move the single image to a new place. Now let's talk about how to resize text. You can resize text in the same way that you resize images. So let's add a text box to the canvas. You can use the size tool in the edit bar again, so we can just type in a number or use the arrows to make the text bigger or smaller. Or you can drag the corners of the bounding box to change the size. If you want to change the size of the bounding box, which is this gray box that goes around your text or object, without changing the size of the text, you can drag the handles to the sides or the top and bottom of the box. So this is not the corners, but one of these side or top handles. And you'll see the space around the text gets bigger, but the text size itself did not change. By default, the text stays in the center, in the middle of the bounding box. You can change where the text is placed in the box using the alignment, line spacing, or letter spacing tools in the edit bar. So you can see for alignment right now it's in the center, it's center justified, it's in the center of the box, and the wrap is on. So if we click left, it will be left justified. If we click top, it will move to the top of the bounding box. We can also increase the letter spacing. If we have 2 lines of text, then we can change the line spacing, which adjusts how close the 2 lines of text are to one another. And also, if you click wrap off, it will shrink your bounding box back to fit around the words. If we click wrap on, it makes the bounding box bigger and we can adjust things. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and have a better idea of how sizing works in Cricut Design Space. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments and check back for more Cricut Design Space Basics tutorials.